I'm going to start with this quote by the Dalai Lama. Today, more than ever before, life must be characterized by a sense of universal responsibility, not just nation to nation and human to human, but human to other forms of life. That's what I'm here to talk about. I'm passionate about wildlife conservation does to other forms of life. In the last 10 years, I've done everything I can do to learn as much as I can about it. I've read books, I've talked to experts, I've gone to the conferences, I've traveled the world. I want to see for myself what's going on in these places. I visited chimpanzees in Uganda. I visited mountain gorilla families in Rwanda. Everywhere I go, the root cause of the dwindling numbers of these species is human population pressure. A recent visual example I saw of this is in Uganda, with farms going up the hillside right to the boundary of Dindi National Park, part of the last remaining habitat for the mountain gorilla. Let's talk about population. We as 6.7 billion people in the world today expected to rise to 9 or 10 billion just in the next 40 years. The problem is we've already got a billion people who don't have enough to eat. What is going to be like when we increase the pressure, the human population pressure, by another 50%? So I think we are going to have our more conflicts, more wars over scarcer resources, less drinking water per person. We're gonna have to less food per person, more disease and suffering. It's difficult to comprehend, but the suffering on global scales when we are talking about billions of people, I know that is so sobering to think about. Is it a future we want to leave for our children and grandchildren? I don't think so either, so let's steer towards a better future. Thomas Berry wrote that our great work for our generation is to learn to live on the planet at least beginly. And why would we do that? One reason we would do that is that our fellow living things who happen not to be human, they don't have a representative in Congress, they don't have a lobbyist in Washington, they don't have a voice at the table, and yes, they completely dependent for their survival on our goodwill, much like children. Let's talk about our country's population and our wildlife. We had about 5 million people in our country around 18 and about 219 billion people in 2000 and more of course. At a conference I met a scientist, Angelo Labizete, who had done fascinating work comparing wildlife sighting in the 17 and 1800 in our country to how wildlife grant today in our country. This chart, the pinkish area, I'm sure how it looks here, are where we used to have blank bears. The yellow areas are where they still are today. You see there's been a lot of recession there. There is the grey wolf. We used to have grey wolves running all over our country. The pinkish area you see on the chart not today. We used to have a grizzly bears running over about half of our country. As you see, they've receded. They don't have them. These were just 200 years ago. That yellow island-like area, that would be the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Let's look at a summary map. Let's take a look at the right here. Red is good, green is bad, white is very bad. You see that we've lost a lot of species in our country. Those whites areas mean that all of the wildlife that was lost there, in this case in the 80s, is gone from our country. Do you think it's normal to have a wildlife running all around us all the time in our country? That is normal. Let's bring it home. Here, the front range of Colorado tonight. We used to have the white bison, they've gone. We used to have a gray wolves, they've gone. We have the grizzly bear, couldn't be right outside, they've gone. We used to have lynx, the cat, gone. Maybe they're not living. We, We used to have black-spotted deer very independent on dog for their survival, gone. We used to have this beautiful little bird, the mouse plover, also gone. This is so sobering information, so what we can do? We can choose a better future. Let's apply the empathy that we have for our cats, dogs, and other pets to endangered species like these tabaxis, but all endangered species. Let's have fewer children than one of the powerful. Thank you. I didn't expect that response. That was of the most powerful things that we can do in the United States if we want to have two kids. Great, let's have two. If you want to have more than two kids, let's adopt. What else can we do? Well, we won't go there. What else can we do? We can help educate girls and provide economic opportunity to women in developing countries. When we do that, those ladies choose to have smaller families and have more nutrition, more health care, more education for their kids, and more, the impact on the global population is huge. Finally, what we can do is we can give more to our planet. We can give half of our donations, let's say, to people and people related causes, and half of our donations to the planet, to ocean conservation, to wildlife conservation. I want to mention, by the way, today we only give 2 to 5% of all giving that goes to environment and wildlife as a category. You have been very patient with sometimes a difficult topic. I just want to say that the things to think about is, do we change as a species? What do we do? So what our feeling living being who happen not to be human can through alongside us 100, 500, and 1000 years from now. Thank you very much.